All right, welcome back, guys. We've got something exciting for you today. I'm really happy to introduce to you Miss Jen Linehan from Sylvania, Ohio. She's going to do a fun little program all about the Certified Florist program and some of the everyday designs that we can use in our shops to be profitable. Assisting her with this program is the lovely Marissa Rakowski, Miss Lisa Vandermeer, and Mr. Victor West. So without further ado, I'm going to pass that right along.
Thank you. All right, so we are your infomercial portion of the program for today. So we are really excited. So we are all certified florists up here on the stage. And if you have not heard of the Certified Florist program before, a certified florist is one who both possesses professional expertise and also passes a certification process. So I know for me, this was a huge thing because I came out of the industry as a floral teacher. I was a high school teacher for 5 years before I opened my flower shop. And all of the things I was teaching, when I learned about the Certified Florist program, I was like, oh, I better go take this before to make sure I, keep all of this knowledge. But when you're looking at all of the competition pieces outside, and all of the things we're getting judged on are the principles and the elements of design, and those are all things that, as florists, but do you really know why you're doing what you're doing? And so it really digs into all of that information. So it's just a really good first step. So Victor, I know you were we were talking last night, and you were saying that what do you feel like the Certified Florist program is? Oh.
Just talk loud.
There you go.
Okay, now it works. We were, Marcia and I were probably part of one of the first 2 or 3 classes that took the test. Yep. For me, it was because I wanted to have, just like her, that you had the initials after your name. But then I also kind of equate it to that, a certified florist is like a bachelor's degree, a CFD is like a master's degree, and an AIFD is like a doctorate or PhD. It's a start, and I've never really pursued anything afterwards, but you learn a lot about it, and it's nice to have something on your card.
Well, at one of these conferences once I heard, what is the alphabet soup after everyone's names? What do all of these letters mean?
Right.
And CF is kind of the first step, I feel like, in the certification process. Right. So the CF program is a self-study program. So it is something that if you decide that it's something you want to do, you pay the money, and you get sent this big giant book, and it has multiple books in it. It has all the information. It breaks it down really easily, and actually I really like it a lot more. Someone's going to get mad at me, than the AIFD book. I feel like it's a lot easier to understand. It breaks it down way easier. There's pictures. And it's for anyone at your flower shop who just wants to start learning what all of those terms mean. And it's a self-study program. So you could buy it right now and just start working on it. And then when you feel like you're ready, you sign up 4 times a year. They offer this test. So it is a written test, and it's also a hands-on test. So it is a 2.5-hour hands-on design test, and there's 5 designs. And again, I thought it's in comparing certified florist and AIFD, it's definitely a bachelor's degree to a PhD. The duplication is like my favorite one because you're given a picture, and you just have to take the flowers that are in your bucket and make that exact same picture. So it's like somebody ordered something off of your website, and you're just making that picture. So you can do that. You have to make 1 vase arrangement. So when I took it, I know they gave me an arrangement for at a hospital for a female or something. But you're given all the same, everyone has the same exact flowers, and you have to make the duplication, 1 vase, 1 pin-on corsage, 1 wrist corsage, and 1 wedding bouquet. So you have to take everything in your bucket and figure out which flowers am I going to use for each certain thing? And so, for me, I started with the corsages, because if you start using, the things that you would make for the corsages in something else, then you're like, oh shoot, I'm going to make this big giant clown flower. So, so those are things that you work on when you're trying to figure out how to do it. But there's also a written test. The written test is a 2-hour test. It's 30 product ID. And it's 100 multiple choice questions. So it's a test that it can be in person or also online, it sounds like, is a new thing. It was all hands-on or all in person when I did it.
The written test, when we took the class, I think half the people failed. The reason being is they were excellent designers. One of my friends who didn't pass was runner-up for Michigan Floral Designer of the Year that year. But she didn't know the business end as well as the design end. So, I got like an 86 in the design and a 99 on the business. Well, she had a 99 in the design and I think 79 on the business, which meant she didn't pass. So, it's not just design,
It's also the business aspect of it.
For the people in your shop, they learn, a little bit about the business so they can kind of understand.
For sure, and I wish, I took mine right out of college when I had just worked at a flower shop, in high school and into college, and I feel like once I had worked at a flower shop full time, it would have been so much easier to pass that test. So if you are someone who's working in a flower shop on a day-to-day basis, it's a little bit of studying just to make sure you know all of those ins and outs of certain aspects, but it's definitely something that if you are already doing it, you probably already know 75% of that information. You just might not know why you're doing it or the exact reason. What made you decide to become a certified florist?
I might be loud, see? I decided, I was very young into my career, and to me it was definitely having letters after my name, and I had a shop at the time, and I wanted that recognition from the community and everyone else. And I used to always say, they're like, why do you have to do that? Oh my gosh, it's so weird. Okay, well, what if a dentist didn't have DDS after his name? Do you want them cleaning your teeth? No. So who would you want to design your flowers? Somebody who's certified, who's known, who's gone to school. And then after I took the test and passed, actually opened a lot of doors for me. I think Bing Goey from Eastern was around, and I always wanted to work there. So I was called him up, and I'm like, hey, I have that CF, and I was Young Person of the Year. What do you think? And he's like, come on down. So it just opened, and then from there, going to other places, everything, it just really gets you a foot in.
For sure, and same thing with me. I did it right out of college, and I was teaching floral design at a high school, and I started a business out of my house doing weddings and events, and here I'm meeting brides at Panera with my little Snapfish book, and you're asking brides or their parents to be just handing you checks at Panera, and in the hope that you're going to show up on their wedding day with their wedding flowers, and so for me to say, oh, I'm a certified florist and blah 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 blah, it just, especially when they're doctors or they're dentists,
exactly.
They want to know that you're certified. So it's definitely something for me, just when I was young, and it just gave me some credentials that made me show that I knew what I was doing.
Exactly.
So, yeah. What about you, Lisa?
I have a very different story. I've been in the floral industry for 21 years, and I got my CF 4 years ago. 9 years ago maybe, I attended my first convention after being in the floral industry for quite a while, and I didn't honestly even know what certified florist meant. The floral shop I was working for when I first started as a florist just trained me, and they weren't really into formal education. And so when I started attending the floral conventions here, I was like, oh, this is different. I didn't know this existed. So yeah, 4 years ago, I was like, I just need to do this. And I wanted to add that I was a scholarship student. So I applied for a scholarship, and my book was paid for through that scholarship. So that's a good way to offset some of those costs.
That's a really good thought. I've actually had some of my employees get those scholarships as well. So there's scholarships through the Great Lake Floral Association that that you can put on there that you want to become a certified florist, or you want to take a hands-on class here at the expo, or you want to come to the expo for free, and they are usually up here saying, like, we don't get that many applicants. So if it's something you want to do, please apply, because I've had employees do it and they get it. So like, I don't know that there's that many applicants, and it's right on the website that you are able to do it, because it is, I mean, it's $599 to become a certified florist. You pay that fee, that includes your first tests. So it includes your first written test, it includes your first hands-on test. You get to choose when you take it, though. So you get all that information, and then you get to choose when you feel like you're ready to go take that.
Like the next month or the next year.
Exactly. Yeah, it just depends how long it takes. So, and you'll know by going through that information, is this something I know, or is this something I need to practice? But the arrangements are arrangements that you make in your store on a daily basis. It's not the same as when you're going to AIFD and they want a casket spray all made out of foliages and blah, blah, blah. It's make a bridal bouquet, it's make an arrangement, and sheltering, yes.
I was surprised how easy it was after working in a floral shop
Yeah,
for
exactly.
as long as I did. I was like, oh, why didn't I do this sooner?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think it's really cool for me to be able to say I am the only one in Northwest Ohio that has a certification. I mean, that's something I market in my store. I would think at some point someone would be like, okay, I should probably get that, but it's still just me. I can't say Northwest Ohio and Southeastern Michigan anymore, but I am the only one, and so that's definitely something that sets me apart in Northwest Ohio.
That's part of our, on our website and place else is, there is only local certified florist. It's like inside the windows, and it's everything else. And it's one of those passive things where somebody may not think about it, but if they're looking at two different people and they've read two different things, they're going like, it's not conscious, but they're like, oh, I'll go with that one. Do I really need this?
Oh, they said yes.
But it's like, for me, it's like a passive thing, because people will be looking for a florist, and they'll be looking at reviews and whatever else. And on our website, it's, the area's only local certified florist, and then there's a link. And I just think that a lot of people, if they're looking for that event or that party, and they're not from the area, which we do a lot of, then having that little extra gives you the extra boost. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and again, it's been a long time since I became a certified florist, and you only need an 80% or higher to pass the test. So, that really, I was just like, oh, come on, a lot of you guys could go pass this tomorrow if you really wanted to. 100%. We also, it's also something at my store. I have it, I'm trying to encourage all of my staff to start working towards theirs, but it's in our contract that if they pass the test, I will reimburse them for that amount that it took them to pay for that test. It's also in there, they get an automatic raise as soon as they pass that test, because I know that it's taken them from here to here, and they've worked on their own as a self-study. They're studying and they're working on it, and it's something I will work with them as an employer to do. But in here, one of the things they say is get better employees or get better jobs. Like you said, it's something you went to Eastern and said, hey, I passed this test, I'm a certified florist, and they said, hey, want a job? It's something as an employer that you can look for certified florists, or as an employee, you're able to market yourself and make more money. So, do you guys want to, Victor, you want to talk about what you're doing over there?
Yeah, well, first we didn't get the first pick of all the flowers. So what I've done is, hello. I'll hold it because I have a loud voice.
So you guys were asked to make an arrangement that you would sell in
Yeah.
your store, an everyday arrangement.
So, St. Patty's Day is coming, so literally I grabbed some green hydrangeas. I took some gold bullion wire and then with some raffia and kind of combined it together just to kind of add something for the top. And this didn't take very long. So.
No, they watched you make
Yeah,
it.
and this one is the one that, as a shop owner, all those blooms I found on the floor in the garbage.
All the little shorties.
All the ones that broke or whatever else. And in my shop, we have, sometimes they come quite overgrown, but bud vases when someone's processing something in the back and a snapdragon breaks, or a rose pops off the head, or, you're doing carnations, they go 6 are broken, but I'm going yeah, but they all have 3 to 6 inch stems. you know, they go on the bench. And you can create something, and I mean, this is years ago. I was talking with somebody, and they were doing that, and then when it got full, they would just hand it out to somebody coming in the store or to a regular customer or something else. But it's things that your employees are putting in the trash, or, you know, they're
Money that's
just,
getting thrown
they're
on the
just not
floor.
using. You know, if I put $44.95 on that in the store, that would get bought up right away, when in reality, with all those flowers, it should be like maybe a $100 arrangement. They just don't have any stems. So, and they don't have to be in the best condition, because, you know, the roses I tucked in there are already kind of blown. They'll last 10 to 14 days because of the short distance between the end of the stem and the flower. So this is one of the things we kind of do, just to use up the stuff that wouldn't normally get used.
We were just having that conversation at the shop the other day. You have all these little bud vases on all the tables, and so then they sit out, and we as designers get to enjoy those little shorties open and get beautiful, but that's money that we're just throwing away. So if we just take the time to put it in something beautiful and put a price on it in the front cooler, it would probably sell.
My girls do that too. There's certain things they'll find.
Yeah. So Lisa, what do you have going on over here?
Well, I just created a more stylized arrangement using some of these snapdragons and lilies here. And then I have this one here. I chose all fragrant flowers, but I actually hand-tied that in a spiral before I put it in the vase. That's how I'm most comfortable designing, because I'm actually an event specialist, and bouquets, bridal bouquets are my thing. So that's how I created that, and I thought that vase kind of worked really well with a hand tie.
Well, I thought it was interesting. So when we were trying to find designers to come up here and do this, you know, Victor's like, hey, what you said you haven't designed in 12 years, like you're 10 years, you know, he's the behind the scenes guy, you know, and then she's like, I'm an event florist, and we're like, create an everyday arrangement. So, but I feel like it goes back to, you're always going back to those principles and elements of design. And so whether you are designing for a wedding or whether you are designing for every day, you're still using the same principles. It's just a matter of like proportion and, you know, how big it is and the amount.
Right.
So, yeah. What did you make?
Well, I'll tell you.
Yes.
Well, I started with this one. This is something that we would sell in our store, and we were talking about what principles and elements to use. So this is parallel and repetition. So it's just straight up and down, super easy. Can be quite inexpensive depending on the flowers that you use. So a bigger show for something that's really
I love
not
that.
much.
I want to sell that at our shop.
And then I made this sort of like an upgrade, and this is terracing and clustering, and it's very garden-ish with all of the parallel lines terracing down, and then we could take it one more step if we wanted to get more money yet. Add some curly willow, add curly willow around it, or some very cool element, and then that would be like our 3 that we would be able to sell at different price points, but still the same. So then even if it came to like funerals or something like that, and this is what they have, the family is like, oh, we want something like this, and then an aunt calls and she's like, I want it to match, but I really don't have that kind of money, then you can do something smaller.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. I've got the fancy one. Does anybody have any questions? I feel like our goal today was just to hopefully inspire you to want to become a certified florist. It does not matter your age. It does not matter how long you've been in the business. It is, I guess I'm always someone who, I'm just looking for the next challenge or the next, my mom will tell you, I like to stay busy. But I am a competitor. So what's the next thing? So I passed my AFD last year, and now I'm working on PFCI. Like, what's the next thing? Thank you. But I just am always looking for that next thing, and how can I be the best that I can be and the best for my store and my staff. Does anybody have any questions for us? Yes?
How long does this process take?
Good question. So you pay the money and you get the book. It's a binder, and it comes with some books in them, but the books are very easy to understand. It's a picture and how to make that arrangement. It really depends on where you are in your in your education. So, but it's a self-study program, so you could look at it and go, all right, I'm ready. You could also take a year or two to really go through. I've got the book at my shop, and we recently have been kind of flipping through it and discussing maybe we need to, why am I designing the way that I'm designing, and how can I help you guys get to that next level to do that? Or they're making an arrangement, and I'm like, and I'm trying to explain some of the principles and elements of how I would move things, and we're starting to talk about that more because I know some of my girls are starting to think about going to that next level, and it's really making us talk about it, and because it's like things but you're not putting the right words to it. And so it's really challenging us at our shop to start talking about all of those things.
How long does the process take?
Yeah.
It's more based on when the testing's being done.
True.
Yeah.
Literally,
It's 4 times a year.
well, I got my book 3 weeks before I tested,
Okay.
but I've been in the industry for a while and I've been a business owner, so the business section was easy for me because I knew all that stuff. Mine was more memorizing the foliages and the flowers and the elements of design and things like that.
Yep.
So it literally took me 3 weeks, but I mean, if you,
It just depends, like from when you get your book to when you test, but we induct every year at convention. So, I mean, if they're offering the test this June and you passed and everything, you still get your letters and all of that, but you don't get inducted at the cool big ceremony tonight until convention.
Yeah, good question. Yeah. So the scholarships are offered on the website. So if you go to the Great Lake Floral Association website, same place where you signed up to come here to the conference, there is a scholarship tab on there. And I believe we were looking the other day, and I think it's due beginning of June or end of May. So it's coming up for that application process. But like I said, you can try to become a certified florist. You can ask for a hands-on class. You can ask for to come to this conference next year. So there's all different, and you write a little bit about why you want to do that. But it's definitely something that they I mean, I feel like I hear every year they don't get enough applications. So please, please, please apply for those. So, and like I said, go to your boss and say, hey, I'd like to do this, but it's $600. This is expensive. I don't have this money. How can I feel like you'd want to help as a boss? They're just
Absolutely.
going to make them a better employee. So, yeah. Yes. Oh, great. Yeah, so the association also offers design classes. So she said that she took the beginning and then intermediate class up in Hazlitt, probably, right? And those are classes that would be really good stepping stones and teach you those basics. So that's a great idea. And the tests are also at Hazlitt, it says, at the office. So I took when I took mine, I was still part of the Ohio Association, so I was an Ohio Certified Florist for a little bit, and then Ohio got merged into this one, so I took my test zone in Ohio. So, anything else you can think of, Doug?
I think that as a shop owner, it can be a useful tool for helping train new employees when they come in. Just kind of before you don't want to just throw somebody in and be like, "Hey, sink or swim." I mean, we've been there, right? But it can be a really structured way to be able to get somebody to be a really useful member of the staff. So, yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's give it up for Jen, Marissa,
Thanks,
Miss
you guys.
Lisa, and Victor. Guys, thank you so much. This was super informative, and we love hearing about the program. And really, that's the great thing about the Great Lakes Floral Association is that they offer lots and lots of opportunities for education and for development. So we really appreciate that. We are going to get things switched over for our next program. Bidding for the silent auction for today closes at 3 o'clock. So we've got just a few more minutes to be able to get those in. The great thing about the silent auction is that this benefits the scholarship program that Jen was just referencing, and also the Great Lakes Floral Foundation. So it definitely is a worthy cause to be able to support, and you want to put your dollars towards that. So, all right, well, bear with us as we do a switch over. The next program, I believe, is in half an hour or so. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You should. Thank you.
Thank you.